There you are.
Hey, welcome to August, everybody. It's Sports Wrap with George and Ringer, and as you may notice, I'm going noteless today. I decided that I was going to go see how I could do pulling it with no notes.
Hey, you can do that. You do the sports every day. You should be able to do that.
Here's what I was thinking about. You remember Andrew Dice Clay?
I do remember Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay was a little, he wouldn't make it today.
No.
He was a little too
chauvinistic,
rough around the edges, racist, sexist.
If you call him a chauvinistic pig, he'd say thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So he had on one of his cassettes that I had bought way back when. He said, the way that I feel for this crowd, I'm going to work with the mic off the stand. So I thought, you know what, the way I feel for this crowd, I'm going to work without any notes, without any net today, and see how it all plays out. Because I suspect about 75% of this show is going to be about the Olympics.
A good chunk of that's what I've been doing the last week.
And so I kind of feel like I've watched enough, I've seen enough. I don't know if I remember enough, but hey, it is what it is, and so we're going to go from there and see what happens. So, what do you want to start with the Olympics? What should we start with?
Well, first off, you have to say whether or not they should have had the Olympics is hard to say, but now that they had it, I want to see how the U.S. basketball team's going to do. The U.S. baseball team, hey, what can you say? They got beat by a team that played baseball.
Yeah.
They bunted, they advanced runners, they did all kinds of base hit stuff and outscored the Boomers.
Yeah, the Americans are up 6-3, in the fifth inning, I think, if I remember correctly, and lose 7-6 in extra innings. They've got a long, it's the scary part about this is they've got such a long road back to get to the gold medal game. Japan essentially is into the semifinals, but in order just to get to the gold medal game, the United States has got to win 2 games. It's even the website that I was reading on said it's a little convoluted. It's a little goofy, kind of. They didn't use the word goofy, but they said it was a little strange how the Olympics had it all set up and how the seedings went with 6 teams.
Well, and the other thing is that they bring in a closer, and he's like 36, 37 years old. He hasn't played baseball for a while. He comes back, and he's an icon, and there are a number of athletes that are, hey, if you're 39 or 40 and you're an Olympic athlete, you're doing real well, and there are some of those people around. And and so but the baseball, it does. I like to see that in that Japan really takes their baseball seriously, and they play it well. They have their own style. It reminded me a little bit of the St. Louis Cardinals in the old days, and they would, I don't steal bases. What do you get if you're really good? You might go 3/4 of the time, but I like watching. You don't know what they're going to do, and they have people just all over the place doing a ton of stuff, and so it was really fun to watch. It really was fun to watch.
I didn't get to watch much of it. I got to watch a little bit of it. So I had a little breezy out here today as we're doing our. It's been months. I feel like since we did a show outside.
It's been a while.
It isn't 100 degrees with 75% humidity. At least that's not the way that it feels today. So we're sitting outside today and thought maybe I should get the windsock on so you didn't have to deal with the breeze. Yeah, the baseball team is, like I said, is an interesting mix. They really don't have major league players there, but they got some AAA guys, and so to me the expectations aren't gold medal or we failed, but hey, get a medal and you should be top 3 amongst the teams that are there, so let's go do that.
Well, and I remember seeing a video of Babe Ruth and a whole bunch of baseball players going to Japan before World War II, and the people were going crazy over this. And I watched a couple of games in the Japanese league and the Korean league, and they have cheerleaders screaming and shouting and all kinds of different stuff that culturally befits them. I'm not sure it does us, but when you see that, you see the passion for the game. You don't mind getting beat by passion like that, especially when it accompanies the skill that they show.
7, 6, and 10 innings. No shame there, unless you're the Twins blowing it for the 37th time. Anyway, so you said Olympic basketball. The women won today. Maybe not playing their best basketball, but they're winning. The men's basketball team, kind of still a little scary with the loss last week and the couple of wins that they've had since then. But both of them are into the quarterfinals, and really, once you get there, you gotta take everybody down anyway. So.
And I saw Kevin Durant and Holiday and some of the rest of these guys play, and if Durant is hitting and Holiday can go to the basket, that's a really hard team to beat, and that's just those two guys. They do have an awful lot of talent on that team.
Well, and I think the biggest thing they talked about was conditioning here within the last 10 days or a couple weeks, and playing team defense, and don't anybody get whatever at me. The NBA, sometimes don't play a lot of defense.
No, they don't.
At least that used to be the thing. Some teams went into that mode, and then they had games down in the 80s and the 70s, and the TV stations, they didn't like that.
No.
The networks didn't like that. So I think it's tough to play a team defense when you come together for 2 weeks and try to come up and formulate something. So like I said, no panic buttons with the basketball teams. I believe they'll be playing there in the gold medal games. I'd be shocked if they weren't. But at the same time, everybody else has got so many good players, especially the other men's teams, that it would not, at the same time, would not be a shock if they weren't there.
No, and I can't remember what it was. Australia and Slovenia. And our old friend Luka, Luka's kind of ripped them up, and they were down 8, 10, 12 points, and then he started rolling. And when you have talent like that, boy, you better put some defense somewhere, because he can kill you all by himself. And
but he comes across the half court line and gets within 30 feet of the basket, and he's a threat.
Yeah, he's a threat.
That's the thing with Luka. When he gets in the zone, you think you're extending your defense, and it's not extending it enough. So
I'll be interesting to see just what they do for the rest of the tournament. But they're an awful lot of fun to watch, and most of the teams have NBA players on them that we're very familiar with. And it's I watched Ricky Rubio the other day. He was driving this Spain team and doing a very nice job of it.
We'll see if he can do that with the Cleveland Cavaliers now.
We'll see if he can do it with the Cavs. But I always liked Ricky. And when he was playing well, hey, he was fun to watch. He wasn't playing well, different deal.
In case you weren't aware, Ricky got traded from the Timberwolves to the Cavs for Taurean Prince, I believe is the guy's name, and a 6'7" forward. So we'll see if that helps. Free agency opened in the NBA today. We'll see what happens. Chris Paul didn't sign his contract, his $44 million extension for one season. 44 million. George, 44 million.
No, Patrick Russi said today, he says, people don't care how much the owners are making. They have no concept of the money involved in that. But they do know when a player, like a quarterback, gets $70-80 million, they are able to figure this out, and they're not pulling for these guys. And it's too bad. I like you, I look at statistics other than money, but a lot of people do not.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, Olympics. How about the swimming? What were your general impressions of swimming?
Well, we've got some superstars there. I mean, there were some people, that were setting. Let's see here. Caleb Dressel. 24. He's 24 years old. He got 5 gold medals, 3 individual, 2 team. He's the 3rd All-American to win 3 individuals. Mike Phelps and Mark Spitz. Well, this is a pretty healthy crew he's hanging with.
It's a company.
He set Olympic record of the 100 freestyle 47:02, and he beat the record in the butterfly as well. Now, this is a guy that can really cut through the water. It's he's really pretty amazing.
You know what the one that impressed me the most? The 50 free. I mean, I'm not.
Isn't that something?
I'm not begrudging the other two that you mentioned, but the fact that he swam for 22 plus seconds and never took his face out of the water.
Never took his face out. Never took a breath.
So okay, so somebody might say, well, that's only holding your breath for 20 seconds. Okay, you're only holding your breath for 20 seconds. That's fine. But you're going as fast as your body possibly can, and you're not taking in any oxygen.
No, and on top of that, there was nobody else in the pool that was able to do that. And he won by a full body length. I mean, there was nobody even close.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Fun to watch. Of course, Katie Ledecky, kind of exciting there as well, and I think shocked the world when she said, when they asked her, is this the last Olympics? And she's like, almost like, are you kidding me? No.
I'm in the groove.
24 is only 3 years away. I can make that. Heck, I might think about Los Angeles in 28. She's 24 years old. So,
yeah.
Swimming 800 to 500 or 800 meters to 1500 meters, that doesn't take as many explosive muscles as, say, a 50 or 100. So I can see Katie Ledecky coming back in 3 and in 8 years or 3 and 7 years to compete at those. She's as Phelps said, she's the GOAT. She's the greatest of all time.
She blows everybody else out of the water, and and she's got that smile on. She's got that charisma. She's the whole package.
And of course, I'm going to need my notes for the first time, but the woman from Australia who won 7 medals.
Yes.
Pretty nice effort. But here's my general impression, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong. But it seems like the Americans left too many gold medals within their grasp. This far, they took a ton of silvers, they took a ton of bronze, and I'm not being a jerk about this. I'm just saying it feels like maybe in years past those were ones that we would have gotten the gold, but we just didn't seem, just took too many second places.
I think the people that we had were really dominant, but you're absolutely right. We really didn't take all the medals. And in the old days, we'd always take first or second and third. They would be piled on, but everybody else seems to be getting better.
Everybody else is getting better, and of course, he just said Cale Dressel won 5 gold medals. Katie Ledecky won 3 or whatever she won. So let's the USA won their haul. Don't get me wrong. It just seemed like there were a lot of races that were like by this much that they lost by. So how about gymnastics?
Well, what do we have? We got Sunny Lee. She's now the darling of Minnesota. The next day, Tim Walz, our governor, declares Sunny Lee Day. The Hmong people have been around here for a long time, and they've done very, very well. She just brought them to the pinnacle, and she's young, she's fantastic. She has all that gymnastic stuff. We all feel bad about Simone, but you know something? When something goes down, some other talent comes to the top.
How about, and again, I'm not going to remember her name, the Brazilian lady who won in the uneven bars. Basically, they were saying she was on the edge of not making the team in Brazil, who is not a hotbed of gymnastics, and she comes in and she wins a gold medal. I guess that's what the Olympics are all about.
That's why they play the game.
And so some interesting things there. Like I said, they seem to have stretched the gymnastics now over about. It used to take 4 days, 6 days. Now it's like 10 days. They've got it figured out so that they can keep NBC happy. We can show you gymnastics every night for weeks, it seems like, and we sit there and we just keep gobbling it up and watching it. So the gymnastics were all right. What else? I got a feeling I know where. If I say what else in the Olympics he wants to talk about, I know where we're going with that.
Well, I can go through the rest of the stuff because I have a couple of other things. For one thing, Wednesday. The field events are going to start, and we want Peyton Offerdahl from Rosemont and the U of M and all the rest of that. He's third on this team. You should see the other two.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you got Ryan Crozier. He set an Olympic record 76 feet 8 1/4 inches. Now that's a long ways.
That's a toss. You know, I think
16-pound shot.
I think we talked about this when he broke the world record there at the trials, whatever that was, a month plus ago.
By 10 inches.
When he let go of it, he knew it.
Oh yeah.
He knew.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the impressive part of the whole thing. And yeah, he broke the world record by 10 inches.
So Offendal just says, I'm hanging out with the best. He's having a real good time. And Ryan Grosier and Joe Kovacs, these guys are going to be fun to watch. And they'll start going on Wednesday. You know, I mean, last night I sat with my grandsons and watched the 100 meters go by. And who we used to win all the 100 meters.
We used to win all the 100 meters.
This guy come from Italy.
Ah.
He had a buddy over there that won the high jump.
And tied for the high jump.
Tied for the high jump.
Is that not the Olympic spirit? They decided that we could go to the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
But you know what? Why don't we just both win the gold medal?
And they says,
which I thought the Olympic Committee would say, no. One of you guys is taking a silver medal home, but no, they're going to both take home a gold medal.
And they were both just exuberant about it. They liked that idea, and you know, it was one of the things where, and I brought this up before. It seems right now that Italians are hot. Huh? They're playing good tennis.
Well, I thought you meant hot looking. I thought maybe you meant joy.
Well, far be it from me to ever think about that, but yeah, they are very good looking. So, but you know, these guys were something, and I'm all for that. Who would have thought at the beginning that Italy would walk away with 2 gold medals in track and field? They've never done that before.
Yeah, it's not one of the strong suits, I would say, of the Italian nation. Yes.
No, and he was a hurdler a couple of years ago, and they must have thought he had a pretty good takeoff or something. But he hasn't been running the 100 meters very long. And you see the guy? He's built like a fullback. He is really pieced together. Sometimes
isn't it amazing how you can get sprinters and they can look like what you just said, or they, I mean, you take Usain Bolt. I mean, Bolt was 6'5". I mean, long.
Yeah.
Well, stringy's not the right word. Just like seemed like he was all arms and legs.
He was a running machine. Yeah.
So it's crazy to think about. Yeah. They said everybody's getting better. It's fun to watch. It makes the competition more interesting. And
it really does. No, as long as you asked. I got up this morning and started watching Greco-Roman finals, and we'll go right down the list. First off, Cuba had 2 gold medals, and this is the first time they had 2 gold medals in Grec. And they had Luis Sanchez won the middleweight type thing. I'm not quite sure how the conversion goes, but the guy. Mijan Lopez, this is his 4th gold medal. He hasn't wrestled in 2 years, Tim. And he comes back. He's 38 years old. He's 6'5", 6'6", just 286 pounds, just chiseled. And he went through this group of heavyweights, you know.
Like a knife through butter.
Yeah, so to speak. He just cut him up. And he won his 4th time, and they say, well, of course, this will be the end, just like that. And this will be the end. He's got a wife that was an Olympic fencer, and this guy is really an interesting guy, and they say he's about as friendly a guy as you'd ever want to be. But if he come around the corner or we walked out on the mat, I'd surrender. Well, I don't know if I'd surrender, but I'd probably get pinned quick. We'll put it that way. So, you know, these guys were something. And then they had the women's freestyle, both the semis and the finals. And this is Adeline Gray. She took a silver. She lost to Ellen Roderfacher from Germany. She got the gold, and the score was 7-3, but it was a lot tighter than it looked. And
Gray was the 5-time world champion.
5-time world champion.
She took the silver, unfortunately.
Yeah, and she was the favorite to win this. I mean, big-time favorite. There was no way that she was not going to. And Roderfacher really kind of just put her on her back. There were a couple of roll-arounds, and Gray just come out in the bottom of those. There were points given, but the first thing that happened is Gray was given a 30-point passivity penalty in which you are 30 seconds. So in 30 seconds you have to do something, or the other person gets your opponent gets a point. And for 30 seconds she couldn't get a shot in. And Rotterfacher was really playing solid defense, and she could have just as been called, but she didn't. And so the first point went because of that penalty. And I think that might have been a determining point of the match. And I didn't know about the 30-second penalty, but we'll keep an eye on that from now on. But that cost her the point. Then we had Tyra Mensah-Stock. She's, I don't know, 150 pounds. She is her shoulders and arms and stuff, she kind of looks like a linebacker. They just built strong. She's incredibly athletic, super strong, and she's been throwing around boys for a long time. You can just tell that was not an issue. They interviewed her afterwards, and she says, they both talked, and they says, you can be married, you can go for your master's degree, you can raise children, and you can still do this. And I thought, wow, I bet you your kids don't give any trouble. So she tomorrow is going to go for Blessing Obarududu.
Wow.
Obarududu is from Nigeria.
Nice pronunciation.
And she's beautiful. She'll come out in a bright green fluorescent singlet, and her hair is shaved.
Okay.
This one looks like, an African queen. She was just absolutely incredible. And so I'm really looking forward to this match. This will come up early morning, although I've got them all recorded. But it's like my wife said to me, "Oh, you found your happy place," and in fact, yes, I did.
And of course, our good friend Gable.
Well, let's just talk about that then.
Gable comes up, I believe, Wednesday night our time.
Wednesday night
into Thursday morning. I think with prelim and semi, I think I saw. Is that correct?
Yes, the quarters and the semis. So there are actually, there's a bunch of wrestlers in this weight class. A guy named Gino Petrashvili from Georgia, and then Turkey has a guy named Taho Akul. Okay, he might have to wrestle both of those. Not since 2014. Has anybody won a world and Olympic champion other than those two?
Huh?
So they've been totally dominant. They haven't
had Gable yet.
They haven't, and so we're kind of pulling for that. This is in the 125-pound heavyweight class, of course. We have Yusuf Batirmurzaev. He's from Kazakhstan. We have Amir Zain. He's from Iran. Alexander Katazatsky from Ukraine, and Ziwi Deng from China. And I've seen some of these guys. They are scary. They are scary.
As scary as Gable Steep.
No, they're not. But I'm going to tell you, this is going to be cakewalk. And what can I say?
He's got his goal for wrestling.
I got my goal as close as I can do it, and Minnesota golfer community right now is expecting a lot.
I think a lot of Americans are expecting a lot from our good friend Gable. So, hey, I want to go back and talk a little bit more. Valerie, see, that's where the notes come in. She won the gold medal in the discus.
Yes.
Nice job.
Yes.
American won silver in the shot. Woman won silver in the shot put.
Yes,
hey,
they did.
Nice job.
That's Raven Sanders that did that.
Thank you. See.
Yeah.
And so to me, I've been doing a lot more over the last couple nights. I put USA on the TV, and that's all I'm really concerned with, because they're showing long jump, and they're showing hammer throw, and they're showing...
Isn't that hammer throw something?
Oh, God. I was showing Eli that last night, and he's like, wow. They were talking about wearing the gloves so you didn't rip the meat off your hand, and he was like, wow, Dad, that's dangerous. And I'm like, he says, what would happen if you got hit by that ball? I said, you'd be dead, boy.
It's incredible. And people have been hurt by that, and the javelin as well. But But no, every time they start throwing that thing around, I stop and watch. It's incredible.
When they bring the field events on, high jump, long jump, triple jump, whatever it is, they can show me all the races they want. I've seen all those races. I want to see.
There's going to be some great shot putters and discus throwers in the next couple of days.
As I said, I like to see those fat guys and fat gals throw. Because they're athletes. A lot of people say, oh, it's on the track where it's all at, they can run over a hurdle or they can run 5K. I want to see those big guys and those big gals get out there and throw that shot put 75 feet. That's
the guy that took third in the Greco super heavyweight was 5'11", 285 pounds, and boy, I'll tell you, he didn't look chubby to me.
Yeah.
He was just really stacked.
Yeah, when I say fat, you know what I'm talking. I'm not trying to be mean here.
No, but he's
I got plenty of that.
He's my height too. I mean, he looked like either one of us, except he had a lot more muscle. But that's kind of where that works.
How about the volleyball teams?
Well,
what are you feeling? This is indoor now volleyball, not the beach volleyball.
We've had some injuries there.
We've had some injuries there,
and so I'm not sure whether they can perk up for that. And right now, it seems to me like again, it seems American volleyball has got a very talented team, but they can be beat.
And the men are out. Men fell flat on their face. I was stunned. One of the favorites coming into the tournament, and it just goes to show you that you got to show up and play in the prelims. Otherwise, you don't get a chance to play for gold. And we'll see what happens. A little crazy, and of course, beach volleyball. The Americans also losing their. I think out of the 4 teams, men and women, I think 3 of them are out last night.
They really could be. I mean, and I've watched beach volleyball and watched. On both men's and women's in the partnership that these two athletes have, and it's really, in my estimation, it's one of the redeeming circumstances of the sport because it reminds me a little bit of 3-on-3 basketball. But
I knew we were going to end up there. Somehow I had a feeling.
Yeah. So but they do work real hard and the partnership between and some of these people have been together for years.
Well, I think that the communication while the ball is in the air, somebody diving out to get a ball flat out, hit the ball up in the air, and while that person's getting ready to set it, they're running up the net so that they can spike it.
Yeah.
So to me, there's no downtime. It seems like during a point, you better be on your horse and ready to go, and they have to be very well conditioned, just like most athletes obviously do.
Those guys.
It just seems to me like it's nuts because you're playing 6-on-6 volleyball. You might be the libero, whatever you want to call them, in the back row, and you might have a ball hit to you, but I don't see you running from the net back to get a ball back up to the net and all in the same. It's crazy. So
and I will guarantee you this: the next Olympics when they play this, the women will be wearing a different uniform.
That could be.
And it's just like I watch the guys. They come out in their surfer shorts and tank tops, and the girls come out in their bikinis, and it's just like they're not going to put up with that anymore.
They tried that. Yeah, they won't happen again.
That won't happen
3 years.
Again.
I agree. I don't think it'll happen. Things will have changed. I guess I'll say it this way: if you want to play in that, I think you will be allowed to play in it.
Yes.
But you won't be mandated. To play in that. Yes.
I agree.
Anything else Olympics you want to talk about?
Let's just see here.
Got your fancy. Again, I'm going to come back. I talked about this last week. The weightlifting is still to me just. I love it watching it. It's
really is
so
good.
Simple. It's so easy. It's so what's the right word? This is it.
This is Jackfish George. Hey, we're on right now. Yeah. Get out of here. Go.
You got shooed. Can you believe it? The star of the show shooed you away.
Shooed.
Jackfish George.
They're making up a blues name for me.
Hey, there you go. See? Might be able to get that onto a t-shirt.
Lay that on me sober. What's the matter with you?
So, yeah.
Kristina Tizmana Oskaya. She is Belarusian, and she went over to the Polish embassy and said, I don't want to go back to Belarus. And they give her a visa so that she wouldn't have to do that. That is, I haven't seen any of these kind of political diversions in quite a number of years, and I think you're probably going to see some more of those before they're done.
Scary.
Well, just
It's a lot scary.
It's a lot scary. And when I bring up Raven Sanders, she's under the gun because she had a protest while on the podium, and the Olympic Committee really frowns on that these days, and so I don't know if they can take her medal away, but they're not happy with her, and neither's the American Committee. So, but these types of things are still taking place, and I think in no small way they should be reported on. This is what people do, and it's the Olympics have been used for politics for a long, long time, and I go all the way back to 1936. You know, so it's but this all comes back.
Yeah, maybe I'm naive or simplistic. I don't have a problem with it, I guess. With what Raven did, I don't.
I don't either.
I don't know, like I said, and I'm sure there are people out there who will disagree with me, but it's not like I don't think she went after anybody.
I think she was a quiet type, unobtrusive. I saw the picture of it. She raised her hand.
Some people might disagree with me, and that's fine. But I don't think she hurt anybody.
No.
I think what she did, like I said, would infuriate some people because they don't agree with what she believes in, and that's their prerogative. But I think she did it in such a way that it was not detrimental to what's going on. So
whatever it was, boy, did she put an effort putting that shot. I watched her do that about a half a dozen times in a row, and she when she made that second spin, man, that ball was way out there already, and she was a fun athlete to watch. No two ways about it. Now let's get a more simple thing. Let's talk football.
Let's talk football. We wanted to get away from our politics before we get taken off the... No. So what do you want to talk about with football?
Well, they're looking for quarterbacks. All the quarterbacks are gone, and so it got so bad.
I thought maybe you wanted to stay with the political statement, but I got a feeling we're going to get to the politics side of this.
I probably will, but it got so bad that they had to call back Jackson Erdman from St. John's, because they didn't have enough quarterbacks to run practice. So
yeah, it's kind of tough to run practice with one quarterback.
One quarterback. So I'm wondering, you know, what does a practice quarterback
sign for?
Yeah, for a practice.
How would $1,000 a day sound?
I'd do it.
You're not going to get hit.
No.
And you're only out there to do the best that you can. I would bet you might get more than $1,000.
Well, you know, he's been working out. He's been working with Thielen and Chad Beebe and Ham and with Kellen Mond and Nate Stanley and Tyler Johnson. And I guess he threw the ball for I don't know, one of their other incomers. And they're also bringing in Case Cookus. You remember Case Cookus?
I don't.
Well, he's from northern Arizona. I'm surprised you didn't remember him.
Yeah, it's shocking. Yeah.
He was with the Giants in the 2020 offseason before spending 3 days with the Broncos in May. So they got all these receivers, and they've got nobody to practice throwing the ball. And I can see that could be an issue. They figure that Cousins is required to sit out for 5 days. I think most everybody is fairly angry with Cousins, and
I think I know the guy at the top of that list.
Who is that?
Mike Zimmer.
Mike Zim is, I guess the Zimmer is, the Zims, as Rushi calls them, is very upset.
Well, the word that he used more than once was disappointed, and that word was said with all kinds of disdain on it. So I don't think it's just disappointment.
They spent all last week telling you how much improved their defense was going to be, all the improvements, all the pictures in the paper, all over and over and over again. No quarterback show up. That doesn't look good.
Yeah, you know, and again, here we go with the political side of it, because I got into a conversation. Well, I wasn't in the. I was involved with the conversation, but I wasn't involved with about getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
And of course, we can say that we are or aren't. We know that there's lots of people out there that are way far apart on whether you should or shouldn't be. And in Mike Zimmer's mind, you should get vaccinated.
You should get vaccinated.
So for him, he's trying. Can I say? I'll say it this way. Somebody put out on Twitter today, how many wins does Mike Zimmer have to get this year to keep his job? Well, Mike Zimmer is fighting for his life, his professional career to stay as the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, and he's got 75 players that he's depending upon that are going to get down to about 60, 65 with all the practice players and everything. And he needs those guys to be all going in the same direction. And when all those guys can't be going in the same direction because of COVID, vaccinations or not vaccinations and the regulations, I guess I would be getting ticked off because my neck's on the chopping block.
Coach Zimmer has a responsibility of keeping a healthy team. That is primarily the way you do it these days with vaccines. And it's what really amazes me, we've been doing this for so long. I lined up for vaccines as a kid, seemed like me every couple of weeks, so I don't know why everybody should take this like this, but a football player, these guys are educated, they know what's going on.
And I understand they don't want to put anything into their body that, and I get it, I mean, those people who are arguing against the vaccine, I understand your argument, but it's, here, Zimmer's a football coach. We were both football coaches. Yeah. We know, okay, we don't have our heads stuck in sand. We know that there were kids out doing dumb things when we were coaching them.
Yeah.
Okay? We know that we couldn't really stop that. As much as we want to, we didn't have that Bob McDonald aura over the top of kids that said, you're not going to go out and drink and I'm going to phone call you every night and whatever else. So those things occur. But you know that it's detrimental to your team to the extent that it could cost you a big game or cost you a series or whatever because that kid is not functional at the top level that they can. To me, that's how I'm liking it. I'm thinking about the kids that we had over the how many every years that we coached combined, and you know that there are kids that were out there doing the wrong thing. And I liken it to this, and it's not that you held anything more against that kid, you just you didn't get as much as you could out of them. And
we give them direction, and we had curfews, and we had people call to see if they were in bed, especially on Monday nights because they all wanted to sit up and watch Monday Night Football. And so, you always cut kids as much slack as you could to at least kind of point them in a direction. And when Mike Zimmer says, I'm disappointed, man, if our coaches said they were disappointed in what we had done, it
didn't go over so well.
No, you didn't sleep so hot that night. And so, I understand. Plus, Mike Zimmer's an old-time coach. He's the last of a breed, and I'm not sure that the owners of the Vikings, although I'm sure won losses are important, I think they appreciate his mystique that he brings into his job.
We lost Beezy Johnson.
We did.
We lost a receiver, torn ACL. That doesn't help things.
No.
Not that Beezy is all pro or anything, but you got to have depth.
You got to have receivers, man.
Got to have wide receivers.
Yeah.
And, so that was a disappointment early on in camp. Although Daniil Hunter sounded happy. I played a couple of cuts of his off of Learfield this morning. He sounded happy.
Well, it's like one of the things where a lot of the things that Mr. Hunter's had to deal with have been well, frankly, mental health issues. And so, people can get a grasp of this. They can change their life and make it a better situation. And I think that he's capable of doing that. I do know he's certainly capable of playing football. And, if they ever cut him loose and let him really go, between him and Kendricks and Mr. Barr, they can put a formidable rush all over that place.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Anything else football you want to discuss? Anything else you got on your list?
Let's see here. Kicking situation. Well, they've got to straighten this out, and I'm not sure that they've been able to do this yet. And it's and so you sit around and you take a look and you say they come in, you give them a couple of looks, and they send them on their way. And a couple of years later, they're all pro for the Jets. I mean, you just
put that purple jersey on them, something happens to them.
what? And in fact, that's been brought up.
I don't know. It's I hold that Minnesota eternal hope that we're going to get a guy that's going to just take care of business. But let's think about Freddie Cox and Rick Danmeyer.
Oh,
You know, how many did we ask Freddie Cox to kick from 50 plus?
never.
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 Rick Danmeyer? Probably never.
No.
Jan Stenerud probably got asked to kick a 52, 53. You know, on a regular basis, we're asking these guys to kick 50s.
When
plus.
we saw the guy kick the 60-yarder, we all said, "Huh? It's 62-yard? Huh?"
Yeah.
And so, you know, now the range is.
Yeah, so I think, you know, we're heck, I think back in the 70s and the 80s, if you made half of yours from 45 plus,
Yeah.
it was
You were top
considered a
shelf.
great day.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not making 85 to 90% of them, you're a bum.
Oh, and you better.
The whole extra point thing is just what puzzles me. It's a chip shot field goal, and it seems like they're making 9 out of 10 only. And to me, I don't know. For those guys, it shouldn't be that way. Especially
No,
when
double it up, and for your extra point, here's the ball in the 2.
and especially when you're kicking indoors.
Yeah.
You just yeah.
And I've seen these guys put on exhibitions. They can kick far longer than 50 yards, and then the crowd cheers. And on the other hand, they can't. Sometimes it's difficult when you got people wanting to kill you. But it's shouldn't say that. Rush you, block your.
Gopher football starts practice.
Gopher
a couple
football
of days
starts
here.
practice. I'm telling you.
Are you excited?
Well, not as excited as PJ, but.
Nobody ever will be.
No, I think that they really kind of have to pump this up. September 3rd is coming very, very quickly. This will be one of the top games. You know, the last time they beat Ohio State,
No, I'm too old. I'm too young to
it
remember.
was 1982, and I was there. I was there with my good friend Patty Ross and Tom Kaler, and we were given tickets, and we went down to see the Ohio State game. And Ohio State was ahead by 2 touchdowns, and Patty says, "Come on, we're going to go out, take a walk." And we came back. Minnesota scored, and then they scored again and wound up beating them. But that's the last time we beat those bums in Minnesota. And it would be really nice.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
That's almost 40 years.
That was in Memorial Stadium.
One of the last games probably there. In Memorial
It
Stadium.
was the last season, I do believe.
81. Well, 81 I think was the last. 82 would have been. It might have been 82.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, they get started here in a couple of days, and hopefully they'll show themselves well against Ohio State, even if they don't beat them.
Well, you know, the thing of it is that first game, lots of things can happen. And everything isn't just set yet. They're going to have to go through, and this is both Ohio State and Gophers. But you know, 2 weeks of practices in the Ohio State practice field, a lot of things can happen, good and bad. And the same way, you know, what if Big Daniel falls on you? You know, it's after they dig you out, you got some problems. So things can happen. But I watched the other day. They had a picture. They had a picture of the boys, Tanner and a couple receivers, and they're selling autographs for $5.
Autographs at Lakeville there last week.
Yeah.
And guess where all the proceeds went to? Tanner Morgan didn't take a penny.
Didn't he?
Guess who he gave all the money to?
Who?
His offensive lineman. Now that's a smart quarterback.
That's a quarterback.
Smart quarterback.
That
right
is
there.
a smart quarterback.
Tanner knows he's going to get his.
Tanner
Make sure
knows
he
he's
takes
going
care
to
of
get
those
his.
big boys up in front.
I'm going to tell you, he is one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and they have all this other talent and all this other speed. But this guy's a class act, and he's only a junior, so he's got time to go. But the pros love a guy like this. They can count on him. He will be there, and so his future is real bright. And if they can keep their running backs alive and well, and there's no reason that that Mo can't run all over. He's got pretty good receivers. It's the defense that they have to make sure that they're picking up. But there's some pretty good people in the defensive line as well. So I share PJ's enthusiasm. I just don't have that much energy.
Shall we talk baseball?
Let's talk baseball. Tell me about your friend Wyatt.
Tell me about the friend Wyatt. Well, unfortunately, we have bad news on that front. His on-base streak came to an end yesterday. He pulled one out of the fire here last week. He got a double in the 9th inning. He had been not on base. Yesterday, he could not pull that off. Went 0 for 4. The streak ends at 51 straight games, 5 games short of the American Association record, and that's a staggering number to think. He has played 56 professional games, and he's been on base in 54 of those.
Yes.
And I know those of you that watch this show know, and you're like, okay, Ringer, you can you don't have to keep. No, it needs to be said. He's batting .379 as of today. It's just phenomenal. The first 2 games of the series that they played on Friday and Saturday, he was on base 10 times. 10 times he was on base, and then Sunday he went 0 for 4 and couldn't get on base. And but 51 games is amazing. It's something to be super proud of. And
I can't wait to interview him on this show and get him on the show. They get let
see if we can get him home. Maybe during deer hunting season. Maybe he'll come home.
Yeah.
And so Wyatt, if you're watching, and I know Daryl is, put that on your calendar. Take care of that so we can get him on and we can jibber jabber with him about.
Hey, everybody in town will want to see that show.
So good stuff. Yeah. You want to talk about your Twins and what they did to the roster last Friday?
Well, they destroyed the roster. They got rid of Barrios, and they got rid of Nelson Cruz, and they brought in a whole bunch of triple A's that I hadn't heard of. A couple of double A's. I'm not sure what they got for Barrios.
They got apparently 2 of the top 5 prospects in the Toronto Blue Jays organization.
Yeah. Somebody said one of them couldn't hit.
One's a pitcher and the other's a shortstop / center fielder. Well, I would hope that we didn't need another shortstop, because it seems like we've got a couple of those.
We do, and Gold Glovers too.
And we got a young one in Royce Lewis, who tore the ACL. But maybe he's going to be the center fielder. It seems like with our team, you can't have enough of anything because they're always hurt. But they got rid of 3 pitchers, and they brought in 4 pitchers. Essentially, is about what they did. They got a lot younger. Jay Happ, I'm torn about what they did with him. I think they gave him a try. I think St. Louis called up and says, we got a guy who is very similar in Gant. Do we want to just swap him? And we'll throw in a kicker, St. Louis said. We'll throw in another arm. So I think Jay Happ, and this is my opinion, I have no whatever to this. I think he was unhappy. I just think he needed something different. So they accommodated that. Like I said, I have nothing to back that up other than my gut feeling on the situation. Hansel Robles had to go. I can't believe somebody took him. They took. Honestly, I can't. Boston must feel like he can do something. They see something that they can fix because Robles was very poor. Was awful is like the word I'd like to use. And then of course Jose Barrios came out 10 days or 12 days ago and basically said, look, the Twins aren't going to give me 15 million, 14 million, 13 million. I don't see that number coming down the pipe, or maybe more. And basically I think he forced their hand and said, look, I'm not going to sign with you. You won't offer me enough money. So they had to trade him. So
half the people in Minnesota said trade him now because, well, for one thing, he's a worthy pitcher and he's worth a lot of money. And so, that cuts it cuts their budget there, and they have some of these younger guys coming in. The problem of it is, of course, is that the pitching staff right now is kind of awful. And when you get rid of your top, at least your second pitcher, it doesn't make it. It just makes it awfuler.
So, somebody said, Berrios is not a number one pitcher. He's a good number two,
Exactly.
but he's not a number one. I don't know if I agree with that fully.
No.
I agree. He can be a number two. Can he handle the pressure of being a number one? That might be something that develops in another year or two.
Somewhere along the line, I could see him with the right team winning 18 or 19 games, and it's just, because he's got some great stuff.
Absolutely,
and
he could be that kind of guy, no doubt about it. So I hated to see Berrios go. I think he's very talented, but if we get one of those two players from Toronto gives us a solid player, then I'll feel like we did okay.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not hard watching Toronto play ball now. You know most of the team. It's
So, yeah. Anyway, and of course, with the whole Nelson Cruz thing, he'll be in town next, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend.
He's going to get such a welcome in that stadium.
And you think he's going to get his bats back before Bailey Ober makes all kinds of hits?
No, Bailey Ober stole one of his bats on Saturday night and got himself his first major league hit.
In his first major league at bat to boot.
Yeah.
And didn't know where the ball went.
And he says, how did you pick a bat? He says, well, it said Nelson Cruz on it. I says, that's the way we used to pick him when we were little kids, too. I got a Mickey Mantle right here. I'm bound to hit a home run.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the Twins lost 2 out of 3 to St. Louis, and they're heading for Cincinnati and then to Houston, which both those teams are pretty good.
They are.
We've got 6 games before we see each other again. I could see them losing 5 or 6 of those easily.
And depending on how hot Cincinnati can be, and they can be, it's hard to say. The thing of it is when I was a kid growing up, I loved Cincinnati. We didn't have the Twins, so you picked out a team, and so the Reds were my favorite team. People say, "We call them Reds. Why?" Well, because they were all a bunch of commies. No, and in fact, in the '60s, they had to change the name.
Theme of the show.
They had to change the name from the Reds to the Redlegs because people were saying, "Oh, they're all a bunch of commies," and they didn't want any of that. Not in American baseball. You just can't have that.
Anything else baseball-wise you want to discuss? I'm going to bring up Max Scherzer.
Do that.
How do the Dodgers? I realize that money's no object. I get that, but how do they have 4 top-line prospects to give to Washington and get a pitcher and a starting shortstop for 4 prospects? How do they have that many? We don't. It doesn't seem like we've got 4 prospects in 4 years.
No, we don't.
They've got 4 prospects to give away now.
No.
How in the heck does that happen?
No, and who was in the World Series last year? See, it happens like this, and
they're drafting like in the back half of each round. They shouldn't have these kind of. Anyway, it is what it is. I understand it's economics to a certain extent, but it seems like the Dodgers go out and get themselves a loaded gun, arm, every year.
They do
at this time to shore up the pitching staff to make a run. The scary part is the Giants are ahead of them right now.
Well,
so
they are,
have to do something.
And it's that time of year. We still got a good chunk of season left, and it's the Dodgers and the Giants, they have this weird thing too, and that's been going on since the 30s. So we'll see what happens there. And I think look at the Angels. I saw them come to town. I mean, they have Mr. Everybody, hitting and pitching and doing all the rest of that. They're not even close to the Dodgers.
And the Cubbies basically blew it up themselves.
Yep.
They said enough's enough. They got rid of Chris Bryant and Javier Baez, I think, if I'm going off my brain. And so some teams blew it up before the trade deadline. And so, like you said, we knew we were sellers. My thing is, I can't believe we did not get rid of a position player. That tells me that teams are looking for another arm. Toronto, I don't know why J-Happ, but okay, St. Louis, for whatever reason. And Hansel Robles, Boston's in first place. Maybe they needed a reliever, somebody who's been in the pen.
5-6 pitches, and he has 5-6 pitches in him. It's just that, those sliders have a tendency, and those curveballs have a tendency of hanging right there in the middle of them. And if they don't cut, they whap it.
That can happen.
It
What else
can.
you want to talk about? Anything?
I think I'm pretty much done with mine.
I'm going to drop a bomb on you.
Uh-huh.
We'll be here next week to discuss the end of the Olympics, and then we are taking a break. We're going to take a week off.
A week off.
We're definitely taking a week off, and we'll get things revved back up. I know it's only one night a week, but we're going to take a break. And while there's a bigger reason, should I?
Tell
It's my wife's birthday on the 16th, on a Monday night.
Make that sacrifice.
She, she'd say, "Oh, baloney." Yeah. Anyway, having said that, it is her birthday, and so we're going to take the week of the 16th off. We'll come back right before the Bass Championship and just before the start of fall sports, because
It's going to happen real quick.
volleyball starts on the 26th, swimming on the 31st, football on September 2nd. I haven't seen a cross-country schedule yet, but I believe that their first meet won't be until the Thursday after school starts. That's if we
Weren't
go on
you saying
past
something
practice.
about there was a game we were going to do in the 3rd as well?
We will be doing a game on the 3rd as well. We're going to go down and watch the North Central Stars.
I want to see them play. I haven't seen them
So
play yet.
we're going to be down. We got to go to Kellier to watch that game.
That's not that far.
And they'll be playing Cromwell Floodwood right in my old backyard.
Oh.
I believe that the nickname will be the Chargers, because that's what they were when I was in high school. They were the Cromwell Floodwood Chargers. So I'll be interested to see if they've adopted the name as those two hated rivals that become one team for football. It's but anyway, we'll get a chance. It'll be a busy fall. I know 23 games plus before playoffs start for me in a couple of months. Hey, that's only 12 per month. That's not so bad, is it?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, it's 3 or 4 a week.
Comes out to about 3 a week. Yeah. So we'll make it work.
We will.
We're looking forward to it. It'll be good. Hopefully that things will be normal. Hopefully.
Yes.
If the virus doesn't get too crazy here.
Please take care of yourself, and there's nothing matter with get that poke in the arm.
And see if I know there's a school board meeting tomorrow night from where we're doing this on Monday night, where they're gonna maybe make a decision on whether the kids are gonna have to or not have to wear masks at school with everything that's going on. So that could put sports in jeopardy for the high school season.
It could.
And that scares me.
Yeah.
But we also, like I said, the kids got to get back in the building. That's number one thing, and then we got to take care of the health, and we'll see what happens from there.
Sounds like a bargain.
If you missed the Rainy Lake Blues Hour on Saturday night, you missed a good one.
I had a guy call me yesterday and said it's the best radio I've heard in town in 25 years. Not 25 days, 25 years, and I really did appreciate that. A connoisseur of the blues, even more than I. So
and a good shout out to Dusty.
Dusty Hill. That was actually the compliment.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Like I said, we'll continue with the Rainy Lake Blues Hour. I know how much you're enjoying it. Not too much extra stress.
No, no, not for me. I got to listen to a lot of blues, but that was part of the bargain.
Boy, that was part of it. It's cutting into his Olympic watching, and it's cutting into his reading. I know that for sure.
The reading part is getting a little iffy.
The reading part is suffering, and then once football season comes around, then he's got to be watching film. Boy, I don't know when he's going to sleep, everybody, but we'll see what happens.
My wife says it keeps me off the streets. Who's to say?
That's important. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thanks.